Hey everyone, my name is Mackenzie, and the story I'm about to share is one I never thought I'd have to live through. When I started my tech company, Secure Flow, I thought I was on the right path, building something that could change the world. I didn't expect that path to lead me to betrayal at the hands of the people I trusted most. This is a story about ambition, trust, and betrayal. It's about how I built my life's work from nothing and how, in a split second, those closest to me tried to steal it all. But what happened next was something none of us expected. And trust me, they didn't realize what they were up against. Before I dive into the chaos, let me take you back to where it all started. SecureFlow wasn't just a company to me, it was my life. I poured everything into it, every hour, every sacrifice, every ounce of energy. I dreamed about it night and day. But what happens when the people you trust, the ones you've shared your dreams with, decide they want it all for themselves? What do you do when you're faced with a betrayal so deep it makes you question everything? Stay with me, because what I'm about to tell you is going to shock you. This isn't just about business, it's about people, trust, and the consequences of choosing the wrong people to stand by your side. Secure Flow started from nothing. I mean, nothing. My story didn't begin with investors or big backing. It began in a cramped apartment where I shared a room with my younger sister, Rebecca. My mom worked double shifts just to keep us afloat, and we lived paycheck to paycheck. If it wasn't for my mom's relentless determination to give us something better, I probably wouldn't have had the chance to even think about going to college. But I did. I was determined to change my circumstances. I pushed through all the obstacles. While other kids were going out on weekends, I was studying. While they were hanging out with friends, I worked part-time jobs to save money for tuition. MIT was my dream school, and nothing was going to stop me from getting there. I remember my counselor at school pulling me aside and saying, "Mackenzie, you work like someone's chasing you." And she was right. I couldn't afford to waste a minute. I was obsessed with success, obsessed with proving that I could make it out of the life I was born into. And when I got that scholarship to MIT, I felt like I'd won the lottery. But it wasn't just the scholarship that kept me going. It was the drive to make something of myself. I worked two part-time jobs in college, surviving on ramen, and whatever campus events I could attend for free. Every extra penny went to helping my family. My mom's bills, Rebecca's rent, I couldn't let them down. When I graduated, I took a job as a junior developer at a small firm, but that wasn't enough for me. I knew I could do more. I wasn't just going to work for someone else, I had bigger dreams. So I took the leap and started Secure Flow, a company that specialized in encryption software for financial institutions. It wasn't easy. The first few years were a nightmare. We struggled to make ends meet. I spent nights working in my small apartment, living off of takeout and caffeine, with the constant fear that I might fail. There were times I couldn't even afford to pay myself. But I kept going. I wasn't about to let everything I had worked for crumble. And then, slowly but surely, things started to click. We signed our first big client, and that was the turning point. We built a reputation, one client at a time. By year 3, Secure Flow was profitable. It wasn't just about the money anymore. It was about proving to myself that I could build something lasting, something meaningful. But success wasn't just mine to enjoy. It was something I wanted to share with my family. I bought my mom a house, paid off her debts, set up a monthly allowance so she could retire, and finally give her the life I had always promised her. But despite all of that, there was something about the way she reacted that didn't sit right with me. She'd always smile and say, "Thank you, Mackenzie," but it never quite reached her eyes. She never seemed truly happy for me. And when I shared news of my latest achievements, she would always change the subject to Rebecca. I tried to push the feeling away, but deep down, I knew something was wrong. Rebecca, my younger sister, was always the wild card. She dropped out of college after one semester and bounced from job to job. Every time she was in trouble, I'd help her out, paying for car repairs, overdue rent, even giving her a bit of spending money to tide her over. But no matter what I did, she never seemed to get it together. I offered advice, career counseling, and even suggested she try therapy, but she was always resistant. Mom made excuses for her. "She's just going through a phase," she'd say. But I knew better. I knew it was more than that. I spent years trying to get Rebecca on the right track, trying to show her that there was more to life than just drifting from one problem to the next. But the truth was, I didn't know how much she resented me for everything I had accomplished. I didn't know how much it hurt her that I had succeeded when she felt like she was always struggling. That's when the offer came in, the one that would change everything. It all happened so fast. The acquisition offer for Secure Flow came in, and at first I thought it was a joke. $20 million. That's how much they were willing to pay for my company. Everything I had built, everything I had sacrificed was about to pay off in ways I never imagined. I was on top of the world, but then I had a thought. What if I could do more? What if I could secure my dream home, the place I had always envisioned for myself and for my family? I found the perfect house, a $28 million mansion perched high above the city with sweeping views and an infinity pool. It was everything I had ever wanted. But there was one thing I had to do to secure it: make a cash offer. I knew I couldn't let this opportunity slip through my fingers. So I made the decision: $10 million in cash. I withdrew the money from the bank. It wasn't just money, it was the product of my years of hard work. I had earned it, and I wanted to use it to buy a piece of my dream. But I made a mistake. I didn't realize the kind of power I was giving away by trusting the wrong people. I called my mom and Rebecca to let them know what I was doing. I expected them to be excited, to be happy for me. But instead, I saw something else. My mom's reaction was off. She was excited, but there was something behind her smile. And Rebecca? Well, her reaction was more like a demand than a congratulations. She wanted something for herself. I should have seen it coming. I should have known that the people I had spent so much time helping would turn on me when the stakes were high enough. But I didn't see it. I was blinded by my own excitement. I trusted them. I thought they would be there for me, no matter what. I arranged for security to escort me with the 10 million. I didn't want to take any risks. So I made sure everything was well planned. I trusted my mom. I trusted Rebecca. I put the money in the safe at my mom's house. I thought it would be safe there overnight. But I couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. The way they looked at the money, the way they asked about the specifics of the cash offer, the way my mom kept asking questions about the house, it felt like they weren't as happy for me as they claimed to be. It didn't feel like support. It felt like they were just waiting for the right moment to take advantage of me. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about everything I had worked for. I kept wondering if I had made the right choice by trusting them with this. But I pushed those thoughts away. I didn't want to believe that the people closest to me would betray me like that. The next morning, I woke up early, ready to make my cash offer on the house. But when I went to the office, the safe was wide open. The money was gone. My heart sank. I rushed through the house, looking in every room, every closet, desperate to find any sign of where the money had gone. But there was nothing. Just a note placed on the kitchen counter. "McKenzie, thanks for the money. We're starting a new life. Don't try to find us." My world shattered in that moment. The money was gone, and so were they. I couldn't breathe. I just stood there in shock, staring at the note. I was frozen in place, unable to process what had just happened. My mind was racing. How could this happen? How could my own mother and sister betray me like this? I had trusted them. I had done everything for them, and this was how they repaid me? The money wasn't just cash. It was everything I had worked for, everything I had sacrificed. I thought about all the years of helping my mom, buying her the house, setting her up with an allowance so she could finally quit working. I thought about the sacrifices I made to help Rebecca, giving her money for her car repairs, paying for her rent when she couldn't make ends meet, even offering advice when she struggled to find her place in life. And now, after everything, this is how they decided to repay me? I stumbled into the living room and picked up the phone, my hands trembling as I dialed Jason's number. It took all the strength I had to speak. "Jason, they're gone. The money's gone. Mom and Rebecca. They took everything." Jason's voice came through the phone, full of concern. "McKenzie, calm down. What happened? Where are they?" His voice was the only thing that grounded me in that moment. But the truth was, I didn't have the answers. I had no idea where they had gone, or what had led to this betrayal. I ran through everything in my head. The excitement of selling Secure Flow, the plans for the dream house, the trust I had placed in my family. It all felt like a cruel joke, a nightmare I couldn't wake up from. When the police finally arrived, Detective Martinez was the one to take my case. She was calm, methodical, but I could tell she didn't believe me at first. She asked the same questions over and over, trying to piece together the story. But to her, it didn't seem to add up. How could a grown woman, someone who had made it on her own, be so naive? I could feel her skepticism, but I knew the truth. "So, you gave them the money willingly, and now you're claiming they took it?" she asked. I nodded, barely able to keep the tears at bay. "Yes, I trusted them," I replied, my voice barely a whisper. "They had everything they needed, and then they stole it. They took what was mine, what I worked for." "Do you have proof?" she asked. That was when the realization hit me. Proof. I didn't have proof. I didn't have any way to prove they had taken the money. The only thing I had was the note. I felt like I was drowning. How could I prove something that seemed so unbelievable? How could I make anyone believe that my own family had taken everything from me? Detective Martinez took the note into evidence, and that was when she suggested a tracking investigation. At first, I wasn't sure if it would help. I didn't know if it was possible to track the money, but she reassured me. "We'll do everything we can, but you need to be prepared. This is going to be complicated." I couldn't imagine what would come next. I had no idea where my mom and sister had gone, or if the money was even real. I didn't even know if there was a way to track counterfeit bills. But one thing was clear: I wasn't going to stop until I got the answers. Days passed, and every hour felt like a week. I couldn't sleep, I couldn't eat. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw my mom and Rebecca taking the bags, laughing, disappearing into the night. They had stolen my hard-earned money, my future. But then came the breakthrough. Detective Martinez called me into the station one afternoon, her voice tense. She didn't mince words. "McKenzie, the money, it's fake." I blinked, trying to process her words. "What? What do you mean fake?" "The money you withdrew. It's counterfeit. The security company placed tracking devices on the bills before you left the bank, and we traced them." I was stunned. How could this be? I had held the money in my hands. It looked real, felt real. But now, with everything in my life crumbling, I was faced with a truth that made it all the more devastating. My family had stolen fake money. They had planned this from the start, thinking they could get away with it. It hit me like a freight train. The guilt, the regret, the betrayal. Not only had they stolen from me, but they had stolen something that didn't even exist. All of their efforts, all of their planning had been in vain. The money was worthless. With the news that the money was counterfeit, I thought the situation couldn't get worse, but the more I thought about it, the more I realized that this wasn't just about money anymore. It was about taking control of the narrative. It was about showing my family and everyone what they had done to me. I couldn't let them get away with it. So we began the chase. We tracked every move they made using the security company's tracking devices. They thought they were in the clear. They thought they had won. But we were right behind them. The first destination we tracked them to was Europe. They had flown from the United States to Paris, and from there they moved quickly. Monaco, then Rome, followed by Milan. They were spending the fake money like it was real. Luxury hotels, designer clothes, expensive meals at Michelin-starred restaurants. It made my stomach turn to see how far they had gone to live the high life off of something that wasn't even theirs. We knew we had to act fast. As we pieced together their movements, we realized they were heading for Milan. I felt like the walls were closing in. I had one shot to confront them, one moment to make them see the truth. And that's when I decided to take matters into my own hands. The moment had arrived, the confrontation. I walked into a luxury restaurant in Milan where I knew they would be. The table was already set for them, complete with an expensive bottle of champagne. I could see them in the back of the restaurant, laughing, as if they hadn't just stolen everything from me. I walked up to their table. They didn't even notice me at first. When they finally looked up, the shock on their faces was priceless. "What do you want?" my mom asked, her voice trembling. She wasn't smiling anymore. Neither was Rebecca. I looked at them, my gaze steady. I want you to know something, I said, my voice cold. You thought you could steal from me and disappear, but you were wrong. I pulled out the stack of counterfeit bills, tossing them onto the table. This is what you've been spending. Fake money. You stole fake money. Their faces drained of color. You're lying, my mom said, her voice breaking. That's not possible. I smiled. It is. And now I know everything. I know about the fake identities you used to escape. I know where you've been and what you've been doing. You can't hide anymore. Rebecca's eyes flickered with panic. How did you find out? She whispered. I leaned forward. It wasn't just the tracking devices. It was the fact that I trusted you. You thought you could steal from me and live a life of luxury, but you didn't know who you were messing with. And that's when I called in the authorities.